Greetings, this is the Saroth Image Experiment. This is a reading from Peter Gray's Lucifer Princeps, a Scarlet Imprint title, and this chapter is called The Cloven Hoof. If Isaiah gives apotheosis, Leviticus the scapegoat, the Deuteronomists limits upon kingship, Enoch teaching by divine beings, Jubilees the sanctioned angel of hostility, then there is only one fatal aspect to plot in the Nativity: Satan. A darker angel enters the story as the cult of Yahweh becomes not only monolatrous, demanding the exclusive worship of one God, but monotheist, denying the existence of all other gods. Although this process begins in Judaism, it is in the apocalyptic cult of Christianity where it fully blooms. Having attained such dominance, God, in a sense, retreats from the field of action until the final decisive conflict, envisaged in Revelation and the prophesied return of Christ, ushering in a golden age. It is not without some trepidation that I broach the difficult issue of Satan. In doing so, I will tread with lighter foot, as Satan has received much attention from both scholars and practitioners. In telling the story of Lucifer, I do not intend to deny Satan his due. My intent is to explore the way in which these characters both differ and coincide. Though it may be desirable to ultimately cleave these figures, it would be remiss not to outline their similarities and to acknowledge that such a distinction was traditionally not drawn. The twists and turns in this course will be charted in the transition from Old to New Testament, the reckoning in Revelation, and the works of the Church Fathers. Ultimately, my suggestion is this: we would do better to consider Satan and Lucifer as a single entity with a cloven hoof. Perhaps, for ease of comprehension, one could consider this composite entity to be the devil. For some, the inclusion of Satan in a study of Lucifer is a heresy in itself. Such a perspective regards Lucifer and Satan as separate entities, one of which is ours, the secret chief of witchcraft and magic, and the other a Christian bogeyman and theirs. This is a fallacious argument, and Scripture is clear on the matter. Satan is considered to be identical with Mastema, Belial, Beliar, Azazel, Samael, et al., and Lucifer. The exclusion of Satan is no better than the dualism which it purports to reject, only to enshrine in the very heart of its argument. The biblical figure, the Satan, notably occurs in Job 1:6-2:7, 1 Chronicles 21:1, Zechariah 3:1-2, and Numbers 22:22-35. Here Satan means adversary or accuser. This is a function or office which becomes increasingly personified. Originally, the Satan was a member of the divine council who had a divined and divinely ordained role. Like Lucifer, he was an angel. Elsewhere in the Bible, Satan is used in a more general sense to describe a political or military opponent. As a folk figure, the Satan does not stand against God. He is an important functionary of his court, an instrument of divinity. Satan's existence removes culpability for suffering from the divine ruler and enables him to test the faith of his people without sullying himself. There is a similarity here between the Satan and the Watchers, as hand and eye operatives of the security state. Thus, in Numbers, Satan is not the enemy of God, but his messenger. In Job, Satan is an agent provocateur, not the evil angel of temptation. The difficulty occurs in the transition to monotheism, with the overthrow and eclipse of the divine assembly. As a result, the Satan must be recast, the angel summarily flung from heaven. The gulf of plausible deniability becomes a yawning chasm, into which Satan, the scapegoat for the sins of God, is condemned. By absolving God from evil acts, Satan serves as an explanation for why good men suffer. And when the divine court is exiled, Satan bloats into the enemy of all creation. The rift between God and his heavenly assembly births a profoundly dualist universe for Satan and his cohorts to inhabit. A universe predicated on conflict. A cosmic lex talionis inevitably ensues, with the reassurance that the divine tyrant will triumph at the end of time, as he did in the beginning. In a sense, Satan runs amok amongst humanity. The Creator God absents himself, perhaps, as the Gnostics would whisper, senile or even mad. The rise of Satan is a theological blowback. It was a small step to implicate the celestial Satan with the thwarted ascendancy of Hallel ben Shahar and the angelic rebellion of Genesis and Enoch, and in so doing marshal a single narrative and a singular enemy. The Satan material is a result of Second Temple Judaism asking the question, what is the nature and origin of evil? This is tied to the changing conception of Yahweh, the shadow of which we perhaps glimpsed in the Deuteronomists' reaction to the goat offered for Azazel. Answers posited to this thorny question comprised the corruption of humans by fallen angels, 1st Enoch, evil as primordial chaos, Daniel, the disobedience of Adam and Eve, 4th Ezra, and the inherent wickedness of the human heart, Genesis. In the transition from Old to New Testament, Satan does not diminish, but grows in stature. Evidently, Satan is the opposer to the mission of Christ, an enemy with many faces. In the New Testament, Satan and devil, from the Greek diabolos, slanderer, are used interchangeably. This semantic drift is very telling. No longer does Satan have an appointed role in the cosmic order, but must kick his heels and, with time on his hands, becomes a sophist deceiver with no redeeming qualities.